It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And it is Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Alstyne. It's Quarantine Con Carne, back doing these virtual for right now. I had all these false starts over the past year. I'm back in the car. I'm not back in the car. I'm back in the car. I'm not back in the car. Doing this for probably another few weeks until the fog lifts a little bit more. Episode 700. It is the stuff of legend. It happened earlier this week. You can watch all the videos. You can listen to all the episodes. Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Google, Spotify, Audible, etc. Wherever you find such things. I want to mention that we're still in January, which for a lot of people is dry January. I've been drinking Well-Being NA beer. This is craft beer without the alcohol in it, and it is authentic. It is good. It is legit. In fact, I'm going to open this right now. It's the Going Places IPA. Cheers. That's fantastic. If you're looking for encouragement, something new to try as dry January is winding down, or just February is coming up, order online, wellbeingbrewing.com. Use my promo code. Take some money off. Take 10% off your order with the promo code JVO. Try the Going Places IPA. Or they also have a new oatmeal cookie stout, which is ridiculous. And that's a limited edition thing. So maybe stock up on those before they completely vanish from the digital shelves. All right. That out of the way. This is an interview show, and I brought for show and tell today the men of Cinco de Gatos. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hi there. How you doing?
So Cinco de Gatos is a Chicago band, started almost 30 years ago. And just as soon as Cinco de Gatos came, they went. And then they came back again. And then they went again. Then they came back, and that stuck. And with a string of newish singles on streaming services and previously recorded content now available, there's a lot of Cinco de Gatos to pull from. So I guess let's start with the new stuff you've been releasing. Is this by and large new versions of old songs, like updated versions of previously recorded stuff or written stuff?
The single that we just put out is an updated version of an old song that's 25 years old, but it's a complete reimagining of it. We recorded it with Todd Rittman from U.S. Maple and Dead Rider, and went specifically to him to have a kind of a bizarre treatment of it, and we got what we wanted out of it. So we're super happy with that.
And the song you're talking about specifically?
It's called Driving on Redline. Now 3,000 miles and counting. It used to be 3. Now it's 3,000 because we're fucking old.
And that is available on 7-inch?
Correct, yeah.
So I guess I mentioned the history. Let's talk a little bit about that. So post-hardcore band comes together in 1994. You were right there, ground zero, that storied independent music scene. You were contemporaries with the likes of Braid and Captain Jazz back in the day. Whenever that era comes up, specifically in Chicago, people who weren't there view it as Camelot, as this utopian musical environment. True or false? Or that it was or
false.
Wasn't?
Very false. It was. I mean, I do the same thing with music that I love from the 70s, or like the punk scene, the CBGB scene. I figured that had to have been like the greatest place ever. Like I would have loved to have existed in that. And then you have younger people who, for some reason, would want to have gone to the Fireside Bowl to go see a band play. I mean, it was horribly nasty. But the bathroom itself, I've never seen a bathroom like that ever in my life.
Have you been to Liars Club?
No, I've heard. I don't know how it could be worse. I mean, it probably is. I don't know, but I haven't been to Liars Club. But I don't know. I think about that era, and Jason can talk about this as well. I was thinking about it today. There was this strange sort of confluence of things that took place between Jason and I. I had actually moved in with an old friend of ours who was playing in Screeching Weasel at the time. It was Dan Sullivan who played drums, and I was his roommate. And Dan says to me one day, he's like, "Do you know Jason Dumbledore lives down the street?" And I hadn't seen Jason in like 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, that's weird. And I think we hung out, and I'm like, dude, we should totally start a band. He's like, yeah. And we had been in a band before. in 89, 90. So we started playing. We would rehearse in our basement over on Albany and Fullerton, which was literally a block away from the Fireside Bowl.
Yeah.
And they had just started having shows there. So it does seem cosmic in a way that we were like right there at the beginning and were able to see bands that went on. I mean, Green Day stayed at my house, you know, a year before Dookie had come out. I mean, there were so many strange things that took place in that time frame that, you know, sometimes I'll tell, you know, people that are in their 20s some of these stories, and they're just totally like, they're like, what the fuck, are you serious? And, you know, they look at me like I'm a middle-aged man, but I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. So when you say Camelot, I guess it was Camelot in a way, but it was a shitty Camelot.
I don't think you can drop the fact that Green Day stayed at your house without explaining for people who have no context for that. How does something like that happen?
Well, so Dan Sullivan, who was Danny Panic and Screeching Weasel, was the drummer of that band at the time. And they were on Lookout Records, same label as Green Day. So whenever a band would play at the Fireside Bowl, they would usually stay at our house a lot of times. But in this instance, I'll preface it by saying it was Mike Dirnt from Green Day that stayed in my apartment. He stayed there for about 3 weeks because Screeching Weasel was recording an album in our basement, and it's called Friends and Influence Enemies, I think it was. And that was the record they were recording, and they had a recorder in our basement. And Mike, they were between bass players, so Mike came from California and stayed with us. And at the time, this would have been 94, summer of 94. So Dookie, I don't believe, had come out at that point.
Or it was right about to.
It was a right about to. But Green Day was legendary, even among like kind of the underground. So I was so stoked that he was, you know, Green Day at one time were like my very favorite band, like 90, 91. And so I was totally stoked that he was there. And it was like, and I mean, so, but like Jason can attest to this as well. He would hang out with these people, and then all of a sudden they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 30 years later. And you're like,
and like, you know, in other small clubs. And I stayed at their practice space in Berkeley when me and our other friend John went out to San Francisco. It was just like, that's what we did. And then like, yeah, all of a sudden Dookie hit and they played at the Vic, and they were like ginormous, and it just took off from there, you know. But it was really strange.
And that was the era too. That was that era of always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Mm-hmm.
Like lots of artists got their big weddings, and then a lot of other artists were just there, you know, holding someone else's bouquet.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like Braden, Cap, and Jazz here. So like, you know, those were like our cousins' weddings that we got invited to, and you know, it's but we didn't tough it out. I mean, we had good songs. We played some good shows. We played with both those bands at Metro. Had an absolute blast, and then we just got distracted. We were notorious drummer killers. John and I's John, you want to tell the carnival story, or should I tell the carnival story?
Oh, you should tell that story. You're good at that.
So I would drive to practice, and we had a rule that was the carnival rule. And if we saw a carnival on the way to a practice or a show, we were going to the carnival.
It's a good rule. It's a good rule.
Yeah. I mean, because potential for churros, definitely Ferris wheels, you know, we're going to have
whack-a-mole, skee ball. Yeah.
Lots of things can happen at a carnival that aren't going to happen at lay mass practice. So anyway, we had Dan Panic Sullivan was our first drummer. He went on to play really fast in other bands. Then we played with Kim Ambriz, and she eventually tired of our shenanigans. And then Brian Peterson from Fireside tried out with us. Who else, John? Who am I missing? What?
Scotty?
Well, Scott. Yeah, Scott then became our kind of legacy drummer. He was the guy that we recorded with at Albini's place. We did the original Driving on Red Line with him and a couple other tracks. He was the last guy we played with until the reunion 12 years ago. We played with John Flood then. We split again, and then I called up Jerry, who I used to work with at Tower, and actually this week is our 2-year anniversary with Jerry for a show. Woo! Yeah, the G-Man show for Baseball Furies. That was our first gig with this full lineup. So that's coming up real quick. Yeah. Yeah.
So the traditional second anniversary gift is cotton. So
we exchanged underwear.
Okay, good. I want to make sure that you were taking care of each other's wants and needs. Yeah. So I mean, let's stay in the 90s for another minute or two. You guys, you burned out really quick. I mean, you were done by 96. I mean, that was like supernova, just boom, gone. What caused the quick flame out?
It was me, I think, mostly.
Let's let Rob talk.
Oh yeah,
so,
Rob.
I'm John's brother, and I was not in the first incarnation band. I was a fan. Like, I saw their first show. I went to college the summer of '94, and I remember you guys played. I think that was the same summer. Or did you play? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw their first show, and I remember going away to school, and John was just playing with his friend. And I come back in that fall, and all these bands that were blowing up at the time when I was in college, like Braid and Captain Jazz, well, my brother was playing with them. And so it was like a Camelot for me. I was a huge fan of that music at that time. And that fact that my brother was in this band, playing with those bands, was so amazing to me, just as a fan. So I only remember the good things. I don't remember the bad bathrooms at places or stuff like that. But I can speak to why they broke up, because John's my brother, and I think it was the winter of 1995. Is that right, John?
Yeah, that's right.
John got a 4-track recorder, and he discovered Guided by Voices and Elvis Costello, and he was like, I'm going to write pop songs. And
Teenage Fan Club.
And I was writing weird shit.
Yeah.
I was full on into Teenage Fan Club, and Jason hated that shit. And there was a kind of like an artistic difference at that point. I played him my demo, which I called Dolphin Lions. I'm like, what do you think? Do you want to do something like this? And he's like, no, like this at all. and so that was kind of, that was the kind of the end of it, I think.
So you stayed friends, or was it acrimony?
No, not really. I mean, like, honestly, I moved to North Carolina like the next year, and recorded a record with Mitch Easter. So I was living out this kind of like this REM type dream, of like melodic jangly rock. So I moved to North Carolina for like 5-6 years. So I hadn't talked to Jason that entire time. It wasn't like an acrimonious thing. It wasn't, we didn't hate each other at all. It just, we kind of, drifted apart.
Yeah. The band fizzled, and then he moved away. We went to see Dolphin Lions play at, oh my God.
Cubas.
And a couple friends came, and that was the first time I'd seen John in a few years, and we talked, and we like totally, there had never been like the Davies brothers, angry spat. Yeah. We just, split. And, I guess that's kind of unique. A band that doesn't break up under shitty circumstances, but we just kind of like went our separate ways and then came back, and we never weren't friends, which was really cool.
No. I've known Jason since I was 17, since 1989. So it just that we were going to allow that to like, make us not like each other, because he doesn't like Teenage Fan Club. It's not the reason.
Yeah, that seems awfully petty if that were to be a reason. Yeah. But in the short time before the supernova, you did manage to record an album's worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Epiphany Wants to Come Home.
Yes. Yeah.
And was it that the sort of thing where you recorded the songs, by the time you had them everything mastered, you're like, well, screw it, we're done. Let's just this is going on the shelf.
Well, that's. Should I say this?
Go ahead. Okay. No, name names.
I'll name names. I don't care. It's water under the bridge. It's fine. Okay, so there was a guy who was putting out records, label called Action Boy 300 Records. His name's Billy Smith. His name is still Billy Smith. He put out Dianoga's first record. He put a couple other really like cool things. And he had like, yeah, I want to put out your record. I want to put out your record. So we're like, awesome. That's amazing. So we'll do it. So we recorded these songs at Steve Albini's studio with Tom Zalewski, the bass player from Tar. And we went there. Steve was really nice. He like gave us a really good rate when Shellac was gone, like on tour. I think they were in Europe. So no, actually, I think he was recording the Page Plant record at the time, which is.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were in his house recording with Tom Zalewski. So we recorded those tracks over the course of, I think, like, Jason, like 3 weekends or something. It was really quick. And we mixed it. And then Billy ghosted us. I mean, that's kind of like the new way of saying, yeah, he just stopped talking to us. And like, it was totally heartbreaking to us. I mean, honestly, that had a lot to do with, I think, us breaking up, was that, we were pretty, sad that we had worked hard on this record, and the guy that said he was going to put it out didn't put it out. So, kind of left holding that record and didn't release it until last year.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's like running a marathon, then cramping out right before the finish line and like collapsing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. And I mean, Jason can probably attest to this too. It hurt our feelings. I mean, like, I was talking about emo. I was like crying about it, like, yeah, I'm so inspired, by Billy totally ghosting us that I'm going to write a whole record of emo songs.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's now seen the light of day. You can now listen to it. It's really good. I mean, Billy, you missed it, bro. I mean, it's a good album.
I went back and listened to it. Like, I told Jason this a couple of years ago, and I was always kind of like, I don't know. But I listened to it like totally fresh ears, and I'm like, this is good. This is kind of like, I was thinking like kind of post-hardcore, but kind of twee in a way, because it's kind of like, it's not so precise. It's not at the drive-in. We were never at the drive-in. We were more like Beat Happening meets at the drive-in. And that's what I thought, like kind of like there's a sort of like sloppiness to it that's charming. So I was like, this maybe could have done something. I don't know.
Well, it certainly sounds like it fits in perfectly with that moment in time. Like, it sounds like it could have stood on its own in that moment. A missed opportunity.
We had a strange knack where our sound was, every song was different than the other ones. We didn't have, like, you would recognize Green Day songs on an album. Like, this one's this would be blah, blah, blah. Like with Cinco, like, our songs didn't sound like each other. Like, they were always very disparate on an album. And I loved that. I think John loved that too. And it was just, that's how we wrote. Like, if a song started to sound too much like another song, we trashed it and would work on something else. So you went away.
John pursued his jangly REM desires.
Yeah.
2009, things came back around.
Mm-hmm.
What did that feel like? Was it like, oh, what were we doing? Of course we're playing together again. Like,
yeah. Rob said this to me one time. Rob was like, dude, you like left Chicago right when things were blowing up in the late 90s, and then you went to North Carolina where nothing was going on. It's like you like you said, the bridesmaid, never the bride. I have such bad instincts, so bad.
I think we have a new album title though now with
was the bridesmaid?
Yeah.
But that was it. It was like one out of every 4 musicians got plucked out of obscurity and put into the meat grinder.
Yeah.
In that era, it was bananas.
Yeah. It's totally crazy. And then I went to North Carolina and shared a practice space with Whiskey Town before they were popular. So I don't know, maybe I have this thing where I can just touch these bands and become totally famous. Like Ryan Adams was a guy I drank with all the time back in like 1997 and 98. And then all of a sudden I see him on MTV and I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
I'm just hoping that whatever kind of awful timing karma you have somehow translates to podcasters as well. Like, oh wow,
oh, I know, right?
We're on Car Con Carne. Next thing we know, the fucker's got like $1 million deal with Spotify.
Totally. I will touch you, Jam. I'm touching you, James, through the screen with my horrible luck.
We can't break out of Beat Kitchen. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Beat Kitchen.
I'm kidding. Beat Kitchen's an awesome.
No.
Trying to be illustrative with my examples.
No, I know.
So, all right. The band Cinco de Gatos became an ongoing pursuit again in 2018. Catch me up from there.
So, so we had, so Baseball Furious was going. James, you and I have talked about that, and
You should explain what that is because people may not know.
Series is it's a series that I'm putting together. Me and a group are putting together about weird rock musicians who are completely obsessed with baseball. And John and Rob were in one of the very first interviews we set up in the basement of Reckless Records. And, they were two giant baseball fans that I knew and like rolled into that. So once we got a couple of years of stuff shot and we're ready to do a big party at G-Man with the help of everyone's friend Joe Shanahan, we needed a couple bands to play. We got the Diff with Len Casper and their Chicago wonders of rock iconography, and we were hunting for a drummer. It was me, John, and Rob, and we had another friend of mine who was another hockey dad. John and I were playing with his name's Jason. We were playing out in his garage for a couple of years on and off, and we booked the party at G-Man. And he texted me that day. He's like, "Oh shit, I got to go to San Diego that weekend. I'm not gonna be able to do it." I'm like, "Well, okay." So we started, grabbing thoughts of drummers that we had, and I just texted all the drummers I knew, and Jerry was the first one to write back. But that being said, Jerry and I had worked at Tower years ago, and Jerry's hands down one of the best drummers I knew, and I was like, he probably wouldn't really be interested in playing this shit.
That's
and then this is the show. Let's put it together and see what happens. And we started out at Fort Knox because that was what was going on then. Yeah. And it clicked really well. And there's 4 very easy to get along with personalities in the room every time. So we've expanded our chops because we challenge each other. We now know, John and I now know how to play our instruments, and having a lifer for a drummer teaching us how to challenge ourselves is pretty awesome.
Well, we're recording this on a Friday night, and you're at your practice space. I mean, if that says anything about the band.
It totally does. We practice every week. We've been practicing every week for 3 years now. I mean, even without shows and stuff. Just
2 years.
Yeah. 2 years because we love to. We like each other fairly well. And Rob's my brother. I love my brothers.
Well, and I think it says something. I mean, this is the third time's the charm.
Yeah.
You got back together, made this an ongoing thing in 2018, and you've kept going through the pandemic. If anything was going to take you out of commission again, it would have been the past couple of years. The fact that you powered through it, you're here on kind of the other side of it. Who the fuck knows? The fact that you're here now, I think, says a lot about your commitment to moving this band forward and keeping it going. Yeah,
it's funny because one nice thing from the pandemic, if we can say that, is when we started, and Rob lives out in Plainfield, Jerry lives in Des Plaines. John and I live in the city, but even John and I aren't very close in the city. But we started doing Zoom meetings to talk about ideas and and then we started recording on GarageBand and cobbling stuff together the way everyone's, we didn't do it back then, but now we can do it, so we just, it pushed us to learn how to use technology, to our benefit and build some stuff.
Am I the only one who finds GarageBand challenging?
No, Jason does. I does too.
Definitely do.
I mean, I feel like Adobe Audition is easier than GarageBand. That's like NASA science, all the different panels and stuff. Yeah,
I'll have to check out what is it called? Adobe what?
Audition.
I'll check that out. No, I think I don't have any issues with GarageBand, but Jason said the same thing. I can't. Didn't you say that, Jason? You couldn't figure it out or something?
I have problems with the mic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I was having
I
trouble.
can come over, James, if you need some help. I guess.
Once the pandemic lifts, we'll enjoy a nice NA beverage, and
Exactly.
that'd be lovely. All right, so as we're looking forward, this is releasing the week of the 24th. You guys are going to appear at the Double Doors open house. They call them Sunday sessions. They do them bi-weekly, and it's you guys, David Singer, and a player to be named later, performing, like doing a 30-minute set. It's this very casual thing. They've just got coolers of beer and shitty vodka available for anyone to grab, and it's become a really it's become this cool hang as Double Doors kind of remodeling this classic Chicago building at Broadway and Wilson. They're just inviting friends and strangers and interested passersby to see some live music. So I think that's cool that you're doing that on Sunday the 30th, right?
Yes.
Sunday the 30th. That's at Double Door, and I think you can RSVP on Double Door's Facebook or their website, or you could probably just show up too, but I don't want to be the one to say that out loud. I just did. But yes, I will be there, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys perform.
Nice.
I love your sound. I think I told Jason that right from the get-go when he started sending me music. I'm like, oh fuck, this is right in my lane. I love what you do. Your sound's right on, and I'm glad you guys decided what is now 4 years ago to get back in the room and do what you do.
Thanks,
I think
man.
it's a win for all of us. So
thank you.
Thank you, Cinco de Gatos. We'll see you at Double Door, and hopefully, again, once this fog lifts, hopefully we'll see a lot more and more often than that.
Thanks,
All right.
James.
Thank you.
All right.